5 albums that made me. That's a tough question. Number one would probably be Pink Floyd, The Wall. I learned to play bass to Pink Floyd. And, Roger Waters actually kind of deeply influences my bass playing, believe it or not. I really liked the use of the bass as a melodic instrument. He used effects, which was the first time I really heard effects on bass. And that kind of got my brain going. 2 might be Nine Inch Nails. Probably The Fragile. Although Downward Spiral is pretty close, but I would say probably The Fragile. I listened to a lot of Industrial for a long time, and Nine Inch Nails was the entryway for that. And that's where I really started experimenting with sounds and textures and trying to figure out how to make my bass sound like a synthesizer. And, so I learned how to play that album cover to cover. So that's 2, 3. Probably Tool's Anima. It was 14. And that heavy clank that the bass had, the thud that the bass had, really influenced me at the time. And that was really my first exposure to modern progressive bass playing, after Pink Floyd. So that really impacted how I thought about the instrument. Number 4. Maybe In Flames' Sense of Purpose. I discovered that later. Actually, much later. That influenced both kind of vocal approach and bass playing. Kind of all the things, Nine Inch Nails and Pink Floyd were much more like songwriting influences. There was just something about the aggression, the urgency that In Flames did have and still has in their approach to music. It was very interesting. Number 5. Ooh. That might be Perfect Circle's 13th Step. That was her second record. And I remember when that came out, and the atmosphere was really interesting to me, but also the prominent use of overdrive and distortion on the bass, which wasn't a new idea, but it was how it was presented was very interesting to me. That very obvious clean and dirty blended together. And also the presence of the bass in those tracks as a very co-dominant instrument was very interesting and not really something I had explored at the time. And it had weight. It had this gravitas to it that you don't really hear a lot in bass playing, or the way basses are mixed, the way basses are used often. Usually it's just that kind of underpinning, but not only did the bass underpin the music, it also pushed it, it pulled it, it manipulated the movement of the song in the same way a guitar does, and they switched places. And this is something that Max and I had experimented with up to that point, but not to that degree, not as fully as that happens in that record. And that really stuck with me and became something that really, that concept of that bass, the presence of the bass in a mix really stuck with me. And that's ultimately how I ended up with the whole clean and dirty thing, and the deep use of the bass as a melodic instrument, and being a lead, but also not. And just that kind of fuzzy interplay between what a bass is supposed to do versus what it can do, what a guitar is supposed to do versus what it can do. And that's what led me to kind of where I am now, and the sort of mashup of melody versus noise, and then where they meet. When does music become noise, and when does noise become music, and how is that important, and when is that important, and how does that influence the writing of a song? And I would say that's me, in a nutshell, as a bassist. So that's what makes me a weirdo. What makes you a weirdo?